Page 4. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje juda zoge jonam lo janju pado tani gyabzu che rage jinso gebe sonamge dola benjir sanje dubara isho sanje juda zoge jonam janju bardo tani gyabzu che rage jinso gebe sonamge Ola benjira sanje dubara isho sanje joda soge chonam chanju bardo dani gyabsu chi dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola benjira sanje dubara isho Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Tum te sham datagato yavatat te sham chayo niroda evam vati mahashramana yesvaha Om ye dharma Etum te sham datagato yavatat desham chayo niroda evam bhati mahashramana yesvaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Hetum te sham datagato yavatat te sham chayo niroda evam vati mahashramana yesvaha All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, some of you may be wondering as to what's the meaning of that verse which we read right now. Sanje Choda So Chunamla. I'm going to quickly explain this, and those who already know this, for you is fine. Turn to page 4, the first verse. By the way, translation is given the immediate next which we also read. But the first one, word to word, I'm going to quickly explain this. Sangye is a Buddha. Chu, Dharma. Tang is and Buddha, Dharma, and Choki Chok is the supreme of the gathering or the supreme of assembly, referring to Sangha. Choki Chok. Namla is Nam is these, La is to these, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Supreme of the Assembly, the Sangha. And how the language works. Some of you who know numerous languages, particularly very contrasting languages, you have the experience. Otherwise, you may be wondering why in English, it is like, I go for refuge, I go for refuge, it comes first, then followed by Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. But in Tibetan, to whom you go to refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha first, and then I go for refuge. How the language works. Second line, Changchup Pardo. Changchup is enlightenment or awakening or Buddhahood. Pardo is until enlightenment. Dark is I. Dark. Ni is linking word. Kyab Su Chi, go for refuge. Kyab Su Chi, go for refuge. Which means until enlightenment, I go for refuge. Dark is I. Ki is the linking word. Jin is generosity. Jin. Sok is etc. Generosity and etc. Jin sok. Kipa is done or did. Kipe. Chok is accumulation. We require for example, say, in order to build this beautiful place, the one here, Nizan Biche, and I met him when I was just about 20 years old, just very briefly in my uncle's place in Nepal. And later, maybe after about 30 years, I met one of his students. And he informed me about that Nizam is building a monastery. So now this is the place. So this beautiful place. So for this, seems like he put a lot of effort, almost like all his lifelong saving he put here, if I'm not wrong. So, which means that this is not easy to construct the place. You have to get the materials, accumulation. You have to accumulate the materials. So to attain Buddhahood, to attain the full awakening, we also need to accumulate merit, accumulate the materials. What materials are required for Buddha? For materials required for the building, we require the cement, the bricks, the rock, stones, and what else? The steel and the slabs and so forth. To attain Buddhahood, we require the materials of two materials, or also referred to as the two wings of the bird to cross the ocean of the mental defilements. So the two are the wisdom and compassion. The two wings, wisdom and compassion. This is amazing. Compassion makes you to work. For example, Mother Teresa selflessly working. That is the compassion. And what makes the compassion work productively, effectively, is determined by the wisdom. So, wisdom is required to give direction to the compassion, and compassion actually makes you work, makes you move towards enlightenment. So, you should go in the proper direction, not in the wrong direction. Who decides? The wisdom decides. Wisdom gives you the direction, and the compassion gives you the energy to move. So these are two wings of the bird required, or these are two materials required to be gathered for one to attain enlightenment. So it says, Dagi Jinso Kebe Tsonam Ki. Tsok is accumulation of merit, and accumulation of wisdom. Nam is these. Ki is the linking word. Do is the migrators or sentient beings. Do, the last line. Do is a sentient being or the migrators. La is 2 or 4. So here is 4. Pen is benefit, help, benefit. Chir is for the sake of. Sangye is Buddhahood. Duparasho is may I attain. Dupa is accomplish, attain. Shok is may. So look, how the Tibetan works is very different. In English, what you put first, you put it last. They say, Dola Penjasang, for the benefit of sentient beings, Buddhahood may I attain. In English, may I attain the Buddhahood for the benefit of sentient beings. So it's such a language. It's a language. And for information, this language thing is very common. Why I know about the language is because that I went through the challenge myself when I was translating for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So, for translating for His Holiness, and His Holiness a prolific speaker, and then sometimes he speaks long sentences. So he speaks in Tibetan and in English. What he spoke, how he began that word, I have to keep it last in English. Until His Holiness completes the sentence, I cannot begin. Because the word that I using first will come last with His Holiness. So I have to remember all these words, what His Holiness said. It's very challenging word. It's a challenging work. One time, Chulotutana, you remember? Chulotutana, he was involved in many important works. He organized big programs for His Holiness and for other programs. So I remember, Chola, the Tunsonla, how many years ago in Amaravati? 2006, when many of you are not born. Right? Okay, the Shrikant not born. Crawling. 5 years, which means almost crawling. Okay, so what I'm saying, not born. Okay. Some and Carl not born. Huh? Okay, I'm joking. So 2006, Chulotutana organized a big program for lakhs. How many lakhs? 2-3 lakhs of people. His Holiness would give the teaching on Shirikada Chakra, and then there were many translators, different languages. And I always used to wonder. There was one, the Amdo translator. Amdo is one of the native regions in Tibet. And that translator, of course, his knowledge of the Buddhist philosophy is not that good. But his translation is so comfortable. It's so comfortable. So I had to really struggle, remember what His Holiness said. As far as possible, as much as possible, I have to give things very clear of what His Holiness taught. And His Holiness says, he starts saying, and I have to wait till His Holiness completes the sentence. But he starts translating right away. I was just wondering, so this is a lucky guy, how is he doing that? So one time there was the audience, His Holiness giving audience to people from that Amdo area. And he was translator. I had no work. His Holiness spoke in Tibetan, and he would translate. When I was listening to the translation, I could follow the Amdo dialect a little bit. Listen to translation. I see that it's just for him there's no issue, because after all it's Tibetan. And how the sentence works, what His Holiness begins with, he can begin with this. So it's very easy. He doesn't want to remember anything. Just repeat what His Holiness says, whereas for me, I have to remember the whole sentence. So therefore, in English, it may sound very different from what we read when I'm explaining this in Tibetan. What is in Tibetan, I'm explaining this in English. You may find it a little different. It's a language thing. Tibetan language, one thing which is beautiful about Tibetan language is not difficult language. It's not difficult language. Some people say very difficult. It's not difficult. It's a very easy language, I would say, to be very honest. And how quickly you know is entirely up to you, how much effort did you put, and also that your flair for the language, it is determined by many factors. Overall, this is is a beautiful language, yet it does not require, it is an easy language for you to learn. And yet, this language has tremendous power. Tremendous power. Why? Because this language is, in the first place, the script is developed, and the language is developed just to accommodate the translation of the Buddhist philosophy and psychology from Sanskrit to Tibetan. Just for that purpose, it was designed for that purpose. So therefore, it was 7th century AD. Then 8th century AD, the Tibetan king, King Trisno the hero, he did a great job. So he was actually making the young boys learn Buddhist philosophy in Sanskrit. Make them learn first Sanskrit in Tibet, Sanskrit, and then learn Buddhist philosophy. And this great teacher, Bodhisattvas Rakshita, the one on the right side, so he advised the king, don't do that. Translate everything from Sanskrit into Tibetan, because Sanskrit is an extremely sophisticated language. It requires a lot of years to gain expertise. And so it'll take a lot of time. So better translate them into Tibetan and teach them directly in Tibetan, your own language. So the whole language became so rich in the process that was in 8th century AD, which is about like 1,200 years ago. So everything was translated into Tibetan. So therefore the language has become extremely sophisticated. To be very honest, I would say that English is also a very beautiful language. English is a very beautiful language. It is a blend of everything, because there have been so many cultures. The Britishers, they invaded Singapore, India, many places, so therefore they adapt in their respective places. So English is a beautiful language, it's amazing, and it is also the Judeo-Christian, the background, information, the logic, philosophy, theology, all are being contained in the language. Okay, so this is a little bit about it. Okay, good. Now let's continue where we left. Verse number 4, page number 142. So the message here is to extract the great meaning out of a life. How to extract the meaning out of life is don't be deviated. Don't be deviated to don't waste your time over the trivialities. Let me repeat it. Don't waste our time over the trivial things, over the unnecessary things. So how? What are the trivial things? So these are things they identified. It doesn't mean that get away from your parents, get away from your relatives. No, this is not the message. The message is that don't be overly engrossed, wasting time over the friends, relatives, and so forth. Friends and relatives, acquainted for long, will separate. Even if you feel so engrossed, you cannot take them to your next life. Eventually, you'll be separated from them. And then spending so much time over accumulating, getting wealth, just getting wealth. Whatever means through whatever means you get the wealth, you do that. Even the possessions that you have gained will have to be left behind. Possessions gained with exertion will be left behind. And finally, you have to leave the world. How do you leave the world? Your consciousness, what you are now. You have the body and you have the mind. And the body is like the guest house. And the mind, your mind is your consciousness or your mind is is like the guest. And your body is the guest house. So this consciousness, your consciousness or the mind, which is your guest, has to leave this body, the guest house. For example, we are all here in the guest house. Then on which date? 14, 15, 16? On the 16, then we have to leave the guest house. You got it? This is exactly the reality. We have to leave this body. And yes, it's quite scary. Consciousness, the guest, will leave the guest house of the body. To let go of it now while you are still alive. While you're still alive, and then they say not to be so obsessed with this life. Not to be so obsessed with this life, but to prepare for next life while not neglecting this life. This is the key. Not to be too obsessed, not to be too engrossed, wasting your time over this life all the time. Instead, preparing for the next life while not neglecting in this life. This is a practice of a bodhisattva. It says to let go of this life, meaning that not be too obsessed with this life. Wealth, friends, relatives, and so forth, and your body. So your body, okay. You do exercise? A little bit? Yes. And here, you do exercise? No. Okay. Here, gentlemen? Yes. Jigme. You do exercise. Okay. The exercise for what? Huh? For health. Meaning? Oh, not in carry illness. Okay. So young people, some of my friends, young people, they teach me yoga, physical exercise, and so forth. And then they do very elastic body. They said, Geshe, do it like this. I said that I'll watch you when you are 58 years old. I'll watch you. May I live long to be able to see you when you are 58. I'll see whether you do the same thing, which you want me to do now. You're getting it? Okay. So what I'm saying is, take care of your body. This is very important. Some people, they're so obsessed with the body, so obsessed. In any ways, what you are today, what you will be 10 years later, is going to be very different. Whether you do exercise or not exercise, whether you take care of, you're obsessed with the body, taking care of it. 10 years later, you'll be 10 years older. Your whole immunity declines. Your whole immunity, but it doesn't mean that don't exercise. This is not a meaning. This is not a connotation. You have to exercise, but you keep in mind that after all, my body will decay, degenerate. But let me not have this body degenerated to such a extent, unnecessary extent, without doing negligence. Through negligence, the degeneration will be so bad. The pace will be so fast. Take care of your body. Take care of health. Meanwhile, don't think that how you can do your physical exercises now is exactly what you can do when you will be 60 years old, 70 years old, so forth. Just take care of your health. Make sure that my body, I should take care of it. Eat something healthy. Eat healthy. Do exercises. Take care of body. And rest well. Give enough rest to the body. Eat healthy. And meanwhile, for what? Not for the sake of living. For the sake of using this precious human thinking power into study, reflection, and meditation, so that you will come to see eventually you come to see with the wisdom to see that the reality is very different. By the time you reach age somewhere, say like in your 20s, 25, 35, 45, by then you should get some idea of what is emptiness like. How what I'm seeing is not the reality. And then just by seeing that what I'm seeing is not the reality, goosebumps should come in the body. That, wow, that's amazing. But just cognitively you see that what you're seeing is not the reality. Goosebumps should come in the body. Cold waves should flow through your body. And sometimes extremely pleasant, tranquil feeling should come. When these things come, then you, okay, now the last 10 years, 20 years I spent on this, and now there's a fruit benefit there. So with this, because of this, all this understanding will help us to separate what is unnecessary things and what is necessary things. You getting it? Unnecessary things which we unnecessarily waste time over, you will see that these are things to be discarded. It's totally unrelated. These I'm doing with the belief that things exist objectively. And then those things which you see as so meaningful, because they are dependently originated, not empty, but they do exist independently. So this understanding will make you create a clear demarcation between what is trivial things and what are the needful things, beneficial things. Then you see that the compassion part. Understanding the wisdom, this will invigorate the compassion. What is related to all non-compassionate things are trivial things. What is compassionate things that make me grow. These things make me grow. You're getting it? Make me grow in my joy and happiness. So these were the two wings, they work. Okay, so this is how we have to, how we can possibly see the meaning of one's life. Yes, Soham?
Just a question. How do we distinguish between conviction in view, right view, and attachment to right view?
Okay. This is a good question. I would say conviction right view can be accompanied by attachment to the right view also. Right view with conviction, right view with conviction that comes with the wisdom drive through reflection. So once you have that, then attachment can come, attachment may not come, depending on say, what are other factors. For example, say, I am desperately, you wouldn't believe. Do you see this? What is this? Clock. The clock. Say, earlier days, I was desperately looking for a watch, wristwatch, with this digital number coming up. And I don't want the fancy things like smartwatch. I don't like those things because you have to charge them so often. In how many days you have to charge? Anyone using smartwatch? No, who uses smartwatch? Anyone here? No one. We are the same. Okay, so Ajala, tell me, how often do you have to wash? Almost every day. So somehow my mind is very rigid. No, it should be like regular watch, where you don't do one battery in a year. That's good enough. Don't charge it, So the smartwatch I have to charge every day. No, it's just waste of my time. This was what was coming in my mind, right? It is not that I'm smart. It's that my mind is rigid. It's not good. You're getting it? Okay, so what I'm saying is that say that now you have the mobile. In any way, I have to charge it. Without the mobile, I cannot do work. Office work, everything happens through the mobile. And alongside this beautiful watch. This clock is there. So what I'm saying is that say, okay, there's a clock there. This is 100%, this is an accurate clock. I have conviction. But I kept too attached to this, right? Oh, I don't need any other smartwatch. This is good. And if somebody says, no, Geshe, I'll give you another clock, another mobile without this, what do you call it? There's something. There's a word for this. No, there's another word. Which means that you have no clue about this. This is, what is that? What is that? Display at all times. This is technical term. Display at all times. This Even if your mobile is off meaning, even if it is temporarily off, but the display will be there. This display clock will be there. Right? Some mobiles have it, some they don't have this facility. So what I'm saying is I'm convinced with this, and I have the conviction that this is amazing. And yet I can be attached to this. You're getting it? I can be attached to this. So, and then if I know that, okay, even this will go away, even this person will go away, this body have to leave, this have to leave, right? With COVID-19 taught us that even the, this person, this man, that big man, everybody has COVID, they die. One day I can also die. So therefore, what is this? You don't go also. Then the conviction is there, attachment will not come. So there are things where you can have conviction, does not necessarily mean that attachment will not be there. The things you can be attached to this, where this conviction. But the conviction through the wisdom of emptiness, that is the one which will cut off all the attachments. Otherwise, say, water, if you, okay, how many of you notice that? For example, say, if you use water to wash the plate or container, if you wash the water, and like this, without rubbing so well, gradually the water itself creates a stain there. You know that? Water itself leaves a stain there. It's a very different stain. So likewise, other things can have the consequences, leave some, the remnants there. But the wisdom of emptiness is the one which will cut off all the remnants. All trace of attachment will be cut by the wisdom. And how? Again, you have to note it down if you want to know. Okay, so having said this, this morning, so Hama was asking if we can do something about we talk about emptiness. And yesterday we were focusing too much on distinguishing between what is emptiness and what is nihilism. Emptiness is not nihilism, which means that although things are empty of independent existence or objective existence, but still things do exist. How do you explain this? That things how things appear to you is not true. At the same time, you can pass it that still the things exist. So how do you demarcate between nihilism and the emptiness? So this is something which we're going to quickly do here. Okay. In the first place, to jump into emptiness concept. Two questions you have to pass. You pass through the two gates. Two gates meaning? The two questions in the form of two gates. If you pass these two gates successfully, then you are entitled to think of emptiness. Otherwise, if you don't pass these two gates, no matter how much you speak of emptiness, it doesn't work. Okay, the first question is, do things exist? Do things exist? This is the first question. If you say, no, everything's empty, the Buddha taught everything's empty, this is not emptiness, this is nihilism. You fail to get through the first gate. Do things exist? What should I answer? Yes. If you say no, you fall into nihilism. This is not emptiness. So the first gate is, do things exist? Answer should be yes. Only if you say yes to the first question, then you are entitled to go to the second question. Second question is, do things exist objectively? This question. So the answer is no. Things don't exist objectively. You say, yes, things exist objectively, you fall into absolutism, extreme of absolutism. This is not emptiness. Okay. If you're succeed in giving the answers correctly to the two questions, do things exist? Answer is yes. The second question is, do things exist? Objectively, the answer should be no. Okay. Only if you succeed in these two, giving correct answers to these questions, you entirely go into emptiness. Okay. Now the next phase that you have to get through is understanding emptiness in the form of dependent origination. Let me repeat it. Understanding emptiness in the form of dependent origination. For this, I'm going to, they say, put it in the form of formulation, and then your job is to draw a conclusion. I create two formulations, and then your job is to draw the conclusion. The first is that emptiness equals dependent origination, number one. Emptiness equals dependent origination. Number two, dependent origination equals the middle way. Okay, in maths, when I say A equals B, B equals C, your job is to say, therefore, A equals C. Likewise, I said emptiness equals dependent origination. Dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. You getting it? Okay, this is what we are to know. Now, you can ask me a question. Okay, what is the first formulation? What's the first premise which I said? Emptiness equals dependent origination. How can we know that emptiness equals dependent origination? You're getting it first. This is our first job. So therefore, oftentimes, the systematic learning is so precious. To be very honest, I see that the learning the dharma, learning these philosophy, for the ordinary people, often, yes, in the universities and so forth, you have your own studies. But the study of these technical things, which you can't expect to complete in 2 years. University program, masters, 2 years. In America, how many years? In America, 2 years. Oh yes, you are from USA. Yes. The undergrad, how many years? Undergrad 4 years. India, undergrad 3 years, masters 2 years. In America, I thought masters is 1 year. Are you sure it's 2 years? In all across America, or? Okay. Okay, good. So let's say that in 2 years to study this philosophy, 2 years would be too short a duration. You getting it? To really get the flavor, as you said, say intellectual understanding versus experiential understanding. To get experiential understanding, you have to really study more. If you really want to extract the meaning out of this, then you have to spend more time. 2 years is too less. Okay. So with this in mind, say the first, emptiness equals dependent origination. So you have to ask how. Okay. So to understand this, you need to know 5 points. So when I say 5 points, 6 points, 2 points, 3 points, don't be scared. You getting it? They're very simple. There is a means to take us through with baby steps. A, B, C, D. You use a step by step. So that way you're understanding, you will really get understanding that, okay, it makes sense. First, emptiness equals dependent origination. This we understand through 5 points. The first point, emptiness. The first is emptiness, easy. Second point, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Emptiness, number 2, is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Okay, how many of you know who? How many of you know who? The meaning of who? How many of you know the meaning of who? Okay, okay, Shrikant?
World Health Organization.
Narendra? Okay, are you sure? Yeah, look, people think that I have clairvoyance. I don't have clairvoyance. You're getting it? Okay. Okay, very good. So people think, some people who are not at all into this information, when I say, what's the meaning of who? They're too naive. How come he doesn't know this, the meaning of who? Who? Right? Who? Who are you? No, this is not what I'm asking. I know what it is, who are you? I know what it is who. But who is WHO, World Health Organization. So who is a short form of World Health Organization. It's not who are you. Likewise, emptiness is not emptiness. It is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 2. Number 3. Emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3. Okay, many of us, when explained like this, it may seem so, there's a smooth flow, you think that you can remember very easily. And later on, maybe after 1 year, 2 years, when somebody comes with the same thought, then you cannot remember these things. Whereas if you note it down, you can quickly go through this over and over again, and then it'll be ingrained within you. So number 1, emptiness. Number 2, emptiness, short form of emptiness for independent existence. Number 3, emptiness for independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3. Number 4, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Everything exists by dependence. Number 5, if everything is dependent existent, then everything exists as dependently originated. This is how we understand emptiness equals to dependent origination. Yes, Sonamala?
You know about Big Bang, right?
Yes.
So recently in the news, scientists have even discarded the idea of Big Bang, and now they are saying that Big Bang is dependent on the previous quantum bounds.
I heard it before you were born. Roger Penrose is in this line.
No. It was recently.
Listen, Roger Penrose, who became a Nobel laureate when you were crawling, he said it already. Professor Michio Kaku, who is not a Nobel laureate, but a brilliant physicist in the world, he said there are 2 mysteries in the world. One mystery is what is before Big Bang. So, okay, don't distract me.
This is for it's where people.
What's the relation? Tell me how.
Everything exists dependently.
Yes.
So Big Bang was also dependent on something else before.
Okay, so basically the idea was that Big Bang is the origin, not the origin, is being debated, is not a consensus, is being debated since I was a child, before you were born. Since I was a child, it was debated. You're getting it? There's no consensus. Because it's 15 billion years ago. We can't even see what was exactly at the time of the Buddha. You're getting it? 2,500 years. It's just too short a time. Even there, we don't know what was there. 15 billion years. And scientists, even whether it's 15 billion or whether it's 14 billion, even these are all discussions. So the point is that this is all done through the calculation, Doppler's effect, redshift Doppler's effect. On that basis, they calculated it. And they conjectured. And all the details are missing. You're getting it? All the details are missing. Yeah. And then some say that this is the beginning of the universe. And what I would say is this is the beginning, if at all is the beginning of the visible universe, what is beyond this, we don't know whether it's a part of this expansion of the universe. All these are big questions in physics. Okay, but what you said makes sense if the scientists, they do say that this is the beginning. Not only they say, they can prove that the singularity is the beginning. The Big Bang is the beginning. Then, say the first, the singularity, it came from where? Dependent on what? So this would be a question. Okay, good. So now, so what we said is that the first claim that emptiness equals dependent origination is done. What's the next? What is dependent origination equals the middle way? How? Again, this is the next question. Okay, let me quickly explain this. Dependent origination equals the middle way. And dependent origination has two sides, two parts. Dependent and origination. Dependent, when is it dependent? When is it dependent? What is the opposite of dependence? Independent. So when you say dependence, it rejects independence. And independent say he has the absolute power. He's very independent. He has absolute. So absolute and independence, these two have the same connotation. You getting it? So when you say that things are dependent, it rejects independence. It rejects absolute reality. So it rejects the extreme of absolutism. When you say dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. What is next? Origination. When you say origination, that means something comes into existence. Something comes into origination. Originate, arise, exist. Something comes into existence. What's the opposite of existence? Non-existence, nihilism. So when you say origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Bringing the two together, dependent and origination, rejects the two extremes. Rejecting the two extremes is following the middle way. So therefore, dependent origination equals the middle way. Okay, now what's the conclusion? Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. Okay, this is what we need to know. Okay, so this one thing. Then another point that we need to understand, we need to know, is that in the sutras, we see that dependent origination is taught on various levels and various forms. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama, summarized everything. Dependent origination, the understanding of dependent origination on three different levels. His Holiness the Dalai Lama puts all what we can see mentioned in the sutra, with the Buddha taught, into the three layers of understanding of dependent origination. The first one, dependent origination of the results, dependence on causes. Dependent origination of the results depends on causes. Number two, dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on parts. Dependent origination of wholes, dependence on parts. Then, dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Okay, third one. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation and / imputation. Designation, imputation, they mean the same. Mental designation, mental. Okay, let's say first let me quickly explain each one of them, and then I will go a little bit into the technicalities. What's the first one? Dependent origination of results depends on causes. For example, say the flower. The flower is the result. The flower is the result, and it came into being by dependence on its causes, like the seeds, the water, the manure, the soil, the sunlight, and so forth. It came into existence by dependence on the earlier causes. So this is applicable only to the impermanent phenomena. Applicable only to the impermanent phenomena. And then keep in mind that things are not necessarily impermanent, they're permanent things as well. Permanent phenomena, impermanent phenomena, both are there. And some people who do not know Buddhist philosophy too well, they just hear Buddhist teaching here and there, they say, oh, the Buddha taught everything is impermanent. It's not true. Because things are two kinds, impermanent phenomena and permanent phenomena. Okay. This is something that you have to explore. What are the examples of permanent phenomena? And I would say that you can check with the seniors who have been doing that in the studies. And during the group discussion, you could discuss about this. And if need be, I'll be happy to explain this in the class. Okay. The first one, dependent origination of the results, dependence on the causes. And number two, dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on the parts. Meaning, for example, the flower is a whole. A flower is a whole, and then it depends on the smaller parts, like the petals, the pistil, and so forth. This whole, the whole is also a whole, and it depends on parts, like the ceiling, the beams, the pillar, the doors, the windows, floor. It depends on multiple parts. And then these parts come together, we get the idea of a beautiful whole. Okay, and human being is also dependent on parts. For example, let's say that some are males, some are females, some are, some are more intelligent, some are less intelligent, and so forth. This all depends on the parts. For example, our body is made of multiple parts, the organs, and the organs are made of the cells, and the cells are made of the DNA molecules, and the molecules are made of atoms, electrons, protons, and so forth. It's just we see as one entity, but in actuality, it's just multiple parts coming together to create a sense of one entity. This is how things are dependent, how things come into being as a whole. They come into being but depends on the parts. Number two. And then number three, that what is number three? Dorji? Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Okay, let's say we talked about driving a car, right lane or left lane. Which is correct? Jigmela, which is correct? Both are correct. In India, both are correct. Then you ride on the right, you drive on the right, and you're in problem. You're getting it in India? No. Otherwise, both are correct, but in a particular place, only one is correct, right? So why in India the drive on the left is correct and drive on the right is wrong? Why? Anyone? Jimala? Or anyone? Yes, tell me.
No, if you drive on the right side, you'll get into an accident.
Yes, so you have to pay penalty. So why? The road decides. Road tells you, hey, Jimala, you're on the wrong lane. Road doesn't decide. Road is object. Object doesn't decide. Who decides?
Convention.
Convention decides. What do you mean by convention?
That people of society decides.
People of society decides. What is a society? It's a building? Then? The people. The people decide. Okay. The people decide. This is something that we need to really explore. You're getting it? Inquire. We just take these things for granted. and the convention. What is convention? What is convention? What is mean by convention? Anyone?
It's the norm. The norm.
What is norm? Anyone? What's the norm? Dorji?
It's something accepted within a particular group, a finite group, and it could extend to other groups, others of the world.
Okay, if you are a loner in a, let's say, in an island by yourself, then there's no convention, is it?
I think so.
Oh. Like, what is convention? Anyone? So what Dorji said is correct, but then it can be understood in various forms. There can be multiple, say, ways of seeing what's convention. Dorji, what is convention?
Convention is something obtained by repeated application of procedure or a mindset.
Can you give me an example?
Like the road, driving on left side of the road, you continue driving for so many years and it has now become a convention.
Okay, so it should be many years. The first year is not convention.
First year is not convention.
Okay, which means that, for example, let's say, okay, from today onwards, let's say, okay, tell me the Vigraj, you, which year did you become the director of this center? Which year you became the director of the center? No. 2023, which month? Okay, let's 1st of January to make it very easy. 1st of January 2023, Vigraj ji became the director of Bodhisattvas Center. Same. How did he become the director? It's the same person the day before. The next day he is appointed as the director. Is it through convention or through what? Yeah, what would you say? Is objectively or subjectively? Subjectively, how?
Somebody assigned.
Yes, somebody whoever has the authority, either the group of trustees, the trustees said that, okay, now we will appoint Vigraji as the director of the center. Then he became the director of the center. So he only one day. Is it convention or not? It's not convention. Okay, that's interesting. Convention, how many years are required? So now is it convention? 3 years already. Okay, what is convention? What do you mean by convention? Anyone? Shrikant? Okay, let me give an example. Okay, Ajala, what's your name? GP. Japi, tell me, what do you understand by convention? Okay, how often do you use the word convention?
Very often.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, so you use the word very often. Tell me, what do you understand by convention when you use the word convention?
It's the accepted norm.
Accepted norm. What is norm?
That has been set.
That has been said, that's been done. Okay. The lady over there, what's your name? On the chair. Yes. Sudipta. Sudipta, you tell me, what do you understand by convention?
Bylaws.
Bylaws for a smaller community like Tibet House, and there's a bylaw there. Or any community, there's a bylaw there. So this is a convention. This is interesting. Thank you. And okay, let's see, Leon, what do you understand by convention?
middle way of go. Rules that are made by law.
Rules. Who's ever made it doesn't matter. Rules. Yes, I agree. And okay. Why I'm not asking them is because they're expert, right? They'll give precise answer, full stop. Okay, the young man.
Laws which have been accepted over time as part of consensus from one particular community or group.
Oh, the consensus should be there. Okay. I will share you one incident and you tell me. What happened was that I must be age, 7 or 8. I must be age 7 or 8. And when a school reopens, we used to have what is known as spring fete. It's like a mela. What is mela? Yeah, like a fair. And it is a school fair, and the school children, they all will be given pocket money. Will be given some money. You have to use this money, go there in the school, and then many activities are there. You can pay, you can buy things. And what's the money? Money is not a regular money, not a conventional money. I'm using the word conventional. You're getting it? It's not a conventional money. They'll just give you a printed paper. Say, class 2, you'll get 2 rupees. Class 3, you'll get 3 rupees. So as you go older, you are given more money. And I still remember, we call these as coupons. You're getting it? Coupons. And just by seeing this as a little boy, seeing this, I could see the value in this, because you go and buy something, you'll actually get something. So, and the next day, the spring fair finished the next day. And one of my classmates, he went somewhere and he found a whole bunch of these coupons. He got all these and brought it to school, to my class. And everybody was so amazed. And everybody was asking, where did you get this? And I thought that he's very lucky. I'm very unlucky, right? I wish I was also there with him so that I can get thinking that this is intrinsically a money. So this worked as a money the day before, and it doesn't work money as money today. You're getting it? Why? It's the same paper, same coupon. It worked as money yesterday and it doesn't work as money today. Why not? Anyone? Yes.
Because they don't have the wisdom of emptiness to realize
Who?
that these coupons are money today, and tomorrow it won't be money.
Yes. So who don't have to become just me or the one who made coupons?
The answer receiving it, I mean.
No, it doesn't matter. I'll not take it offense. You tell me. You. Oh, you can say you as a little boy. Yes. So we lack the wisdom of emptiness. Oh, which means that those who, this is garbage. Those people who see this as garbage, they have the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, that's interesting.
Children are still in the juvenile state of mind, so.
No, that's fine. My question is, why this small piece of paper? It's not about what happened to this boy. This is not my question, right? So you may be lacking wisdom emptiness. You're getting it? You have to look at my question properly. My question is not about this little boy. I was going question about the little paper, coupon. Why it worked as a money the day before and why it is not working as a money today? This is my question. Yes.
Because that one for the validity for a certain period of time.
Okay, so this paper was valid as a money the day before. Certain period of time, which is for 24 hours. Not even 24 hours, maybe 12 hours. And then validity is gone. So why the validity expires? Is it that the paper is old? The next day the paper becomes old?
Maybe it was related to the event. It was related to the event of fate.
Okay, so the paper, who said it? That this paper is related to the event. The paper said it or who said it? The authorities. School authorities, they said that we're going to use this paper as money for 12 hours. So school authority decides that this is the money, this is the coupon to be used during the fair related to the program, the festival. This will be used, this will serve as a money. Then after 12 hours, then the validity expires. So somebody decided, authority, it can be one or it can be multiple. You getting it? Even this is one, still it works. But the paper does not decide. It's decided by the person's mind. Subjective or objective? Subjective. You're getting it? Subjective. So, let's say convention, as many of you said, rules. This is kind of a rule. Rule. In English, it may not sound as rule, but it's some kind of, the best word would be convention. Convention to say that this will hold as money, the same paper hold as money in this particular stipulated time, and the validity is no more there the next day. So this is a pure convention. You getting it? Okay. So what we are saying is that the convention is happening objectively or subjectively? Convention happening objectively, huh?
Objectively for the children. Objectively for the children.
This is not my question. Convention is happening objectively or subjectively?
Subjectively.
Subjectively. Very good. It is. So therefore, conventional existence, subjective existence, they all mean the same. You getting it? Subjective existence, conventional existence, they all mean the same. Okay. So with this, what we're trying to explain is the third one. Dependent origination of dependence on the mere, what did I say? What's the third one? What is the third level of dependent origination? Yanjanla? Very good. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Mental. Mental is subjective, objective? Subjective. You're getting it? So third one is the subtlest version of the understanding of dependent origination. Third one. Okay. So now let me take you a little more into the technicalities. Of the three levels of dependent origination, what we said is that things can be divided into two, permanent and impermanent phenomena. You getting it? And if possible, I would suggest that the three groups you discuss as to what constitutes permanent phenomena. You getting it? Say how we understand. Okay, how many of you use the word permanent in your day-to-day exchanges? How many of you, once in a while, you use the word permanent? The word permanent, use your hand. Okay. Is there anybody who likes to share with us in what context you use the word permanent? Anyone? Shiprato?
Permanent marker.
Permanent marker, yes. Permanent marker. Okay, very good. Anyone else?
Permanent address.
Permanent address, very good. Nalinda? Yes, okay. Permanent marker is not from Nalinda. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Permanent. Permanent. Huh? Yes, Joyaji.
Something is destroyed completely, then you say it's permanently destroyed.
Oh, permanently destroyed. Permanently destroyed. Yes. Yes. Srindamala?
Permanent residence.
Permanent resident. Permanent residence. Yes. Okay. Residence or resident? Both. Yes. Anyone else? Permanent.
Permanent structure.
Permanent structure, yes, not a temporary structure, permanent structure. Thank you. Wonderful, amazing. Okay. Same, but permanent structure is not permanent. Permanent address is not permanent address. Permanent resident is not permanent resident. Right? It's not permanent. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Permanent address is actually not permanent, right? Okay. Even the permanent structure, even that, we call it permanent, but it's not permanent. So when we say permanent things, impermanent things, it has its own meaning. It's not just, say for example, say any label given to a say for example, okay, okay, where's Dorjila? Dorjila is there. What is the meaning of Dorji? Dorji means diamond. We are so lucky we have a diamond there. Right? Okay. Are you diamond or you're a human being? We're a human being. Look, Dorji is just arbitrarily, is a name arbitrarily given to a person. Dorji means diamond. A person cannot be diamond. You getting it? So this is just arbitrarily given. My name is Dorji. It's just arbitrarily given. So, permanent. So when I say, let's not talk about what is arbitrarily given as the word permanent, like permanent residence, permanent address, permanent structure, and destroyed permanently, and so forth. Instead, it should really bear the real meaning as to what is permanent. Okay. Now the Nalanda, those from Nalanda, you can actively take part in this. What do you understand by permanent phenomena? Anyone? Even from those from Nalanda, you can say. Can you give me some examples of permanent phenomena?
Space in between.
Dorjila, yes. Huh?
The space between the eye consciousness.
The space between, okay, let's say the space between you and other person, the space. This is permanent. Anyone else? Yes, Sonamla.
Change is permanent.
Change is permanent. Change is not permanent. Change is permanent in the sense, like permanent resident, permanent address. It's not permanent. You getting it? Even change is also not permanent, because change means change. Changing. Changing means it's impermanent.
The nature of change is permanent.
Okay. So I understand what you are saying. This is known as, there's a distinction made here. Do you understand it? For example, that the fact that the composite things are impermanent, that itself is unchanging. It means real, all along. This is what you understand as a permanent. This is not the real meaning of the permanent. This is known as permanent. The great Indian master, Acharya Dharmakirti, 7th century AD, he made a distinction between how the permanence and impermanence is understood by the learned scholars and the ordinary people. Ordinary people who say that, they say Dorji is permanently in Delhi. He's not permanent. But this is how ordinary people understand it. Oh, how long have you been in Delhi? Oh, the last 15 years. You're permanently there, right? This is how ordinary people understand that. It does not mean permanent. This is how the ordinary people understand it as permanent. So change referred to as permanent. This is more somebody say the tricky logicians. They try to trick each other, saying the change is permanent. This is in the context of how ordinary people understand as permanent. Anyone else? Examples of permanent. Okay. Kukil.
Absence of flower.
Absence of flower in your hand is a permanent phenomenon. Very good. I'm glad. Okay. The Kokil, would you mind explaining how absence of flower is permanent? Okay, let's all listen to this. Absence of flower is permanent.
So, for something to be impermanent, it has to undergo changes. If there is no flower in my palm, this thing doesn't undergo any changes. So, because it doesn't go through any changes, so it is a permanent factor.
Okay, so what Kokil said is a very important concept. What he's saying is that in the first place, permanent means something which exists but which is unchanging. Opposite of which is impermanent. Impermanent means something changing. Say, the flower. The flower changes. So you keep it like this over time. It will wither. It's changing. Whereas the absence of flower, there's no substance there. There's no substance to undergo change. You getting it? There's no substance to undergo change. It exists. Absence of flower exists or not? Absence of flower exists? Okay. Flower exists. Now the flower is absent? Hey. The flower is absent now? In my hand, flower is absent? Yes? Priyanka? Yes, no? The flower is absent in my hand? So the absence of flower is there in my hand? Okay, what is in my hand? Okay, what is in my hand? Flower. Okay. Now, what's in my hand? It's empty. So this is a very genuine answer coming from somebody who is non-complicated person. Some people very complicated, unnecessarily complicated. So this is a very genuine answer coming. It's empty. Okay. So is empty meaning no flower? Absence of flower? Absence of flower is there? Absence of flower is there or not there? Okay, now absence of flower is there, not there. Okay, now if you get lost, if you get a little confused or lost, which means that you are understanding something. You're getting it? But some people, they're all philosophers and they'll never improve. They'll never improve because they have some static answers. You're getting it? Whereas if you think, then look, you can see within a few seconds, Priyanka, there's a feeling of, okay, I cannot say yes, no. You getting it? So this is the indication that she is actually transforming. So therefore, when we speak the philosophy, you speak from your heart. You're getting it? Then you actually grow so fast. In a way, what I would say that those people who study the analytic courses, how the how Kokil explained it, he explained it so beautifully. You're getting it? These are so precious information. So, we say the flower is there. Now there's no flower. No flower means absence of flower. So absence of flower is there. If it's there, then, but it does not have a substance. It doesn't have a substance. There's no substance, therefore, there's no substance to undergo change. There's no change means it's unchanging, but unchanging is permanent. Permanent doesn't mean that there's some solid, very hard object there which doesn't change. No, that's not a connotation. The fact that it is absent of substance itself is a connotation of being permanent, as Kokil said. Okay, good. So we can discuss more on this. Yes, sure, Bodhisattva.
So I want to know, so then absence of things itself, like
Yes.
it need not be a flower, it could be like
Anything.
absence of an object.
Absence of absence of object, absence of chocolate, absence of, say, the singing ball in my hand, absence of the hall, anything. So absence, as long as it holds true, as long as holds true to be existent, that is permanent phenomenon. But how Gokil explained, we have to understand it. Once you understand it, it should become your knowledge. You getting it? And yes, it is not difficult. It's not difficult. Only thing is it requires a little bit of systematic studies. So this will help us. Okay, good. So now we have another 12 minutes. Okay, so I would say, okay, let us quickly read 2 more passages and then we'll do question and answers. Okay. Verse number 5. When due to friendship with someone, the 3 poisons increase. The one we did before. With respect to the place, what is a hospitable, good place for your growth? What is a bad place for you to degenerate? That is already explained. Now, what is good companion and what is a bad companion? This distinction made here. When due to friendship with someone, the 3 poisons increase. What are 3 poisons? Attachment, aversion, ignorance. When these 3 things grow, which means the person that you accompany with is not a good person. Degrading the activities of listening, reflecting, meditating. Listening, studying about emptiness, about compassion, reflecting, meditating. These degrade and destroys loving kindness and compassion. Your compassion towards others decreased. To give up such a friendship is a practice for Bodhisattva. 6. When in relying on someone, your negativities diminish. And whereas you, for example, so coming to Buddhapata, you meet good people, and your negativities diminish, and you see the other person, you observe the other person does not backbite anybody else. Whereas in your place, you see friends, people around, always being judgment of others. So here you see that one person, that person, this lady, so forth, they never backbite others. It's amazing. So you will see that this is a role model for you. And then you also, your tendency to backbite others gradually diminish. And you see that you're growing in your goodness. These are the good friends. Relying on someone, number 6, relying on someone, your negativities diminish and your positive qualities grow like a waxing moon. To cherish such a spiritual friend more than your own body is a practice of Bodhisattva. Okay, next is, say, for example, say some people, they can be a brilliant orator, speaks so beautifully. At the same time, say you come to listen to the person's talk, and anything for anything. The whole purpose for that person is to extol money from you, extract money from you, right? So 1 hour, my lecture 1 hour is 20,000 to 2,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, right? And you talk as though like you're a bodhisattva. And then finally, so you don't get the money, then you create problem, right? So this speaks nice, but it's all about money. It's all about money. This is not a good thing. Okay, so therefore, the thing is that some people, what they talk, they don't believe in what they talk. They talk you have to good, be kind, meet with your Buddha nature and so forth, and they themselves are a very angry person, very short-tempered person, and very selfish. They talk something nice, and then actually they themselves are extremely selfish. This is not a good role. This is not a role model for us. So, you see, funny, what do you want? If you want to study physics, don't go to Buddha, go to Albert Einstein. You're getting it? If you're hungry, don't become a Buddhist. What should you do? Go to the kitchen. You're getting it? If you're hungry, go to the kitchen, don't become a Buddhist. And if you want to learn architecture, don't come to listen to the lecture. Don't sit here. Be around and see, enjoy the architecture. So what's the purpose? If your purpose is to attain liberation, to stop the tears of samsara, don't rely on those people who attract more miseries and more tears. This is meaning. The next, themselves captives in the prison of samsara, meaning that they don't know how to get out of samsara. Worldly gods. Worldly gods, they don't know how to, they're worldly, they're in samsara themselves. Whom can the worldly gods protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, who do not betray you, is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Number 8. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. And now I'd like to entertain some questions. Questions you have, Leon?
For me, the question was, we had quite a long topic about dependence origination.
Say again?
The topic about the dependence origination.
Yes.
So what is it all about? Is it about understanding emptiness better to meditate?
Okay, thank you. This concept of dependent origination, in what way it helps, or in what context it is taught? Taught for what? For the purpose of understanding emptiness better, or for what? Answer is yes. It is for us to understand emptiness better. Dependent origination means, for example, let's say that say my Langshan does not eat anything. You understand what I said? My Langshan does not depend on any food. What did I say?
Your language.
I said my Langshan, not language. Langshan. My Langshan does not depend on food.
What's Langshan?
Very good. What is Langshan? You're getting it? Langshan means elephant. My elephant does not depend on food.
Amazing elephant. Seems to be amazing elephant.
So, Leon, maybe you can ask me the question, do you really have a Langshan? My answer is, no, I don't have Langshan. It is non-existent. Because it is non-existent, it does not depend on anything. The fact that it depends on something means it should exist. You're getting it? Dependent origination. It should exist. At the same time, it does not exist independently. It exists dependently, which means independence is empty. Okay, when you look at the pen or anything that you have, when you look at it, how does it appear to you? It appears as independent from your mind, subjective mind, or dependent on subjective mind. How does the pen or how does the things around you appear to you? As independent of the mind or dependent on the mind? Independent of the mind. For example, let's say that, okay, the Vigraji, what is this hall known as? Buddha Hall. And what's the upper hall known as? Guru Rinpoche Hall. You getting it? Let's say now, if I go to the office, Vigraji's office, I ask, say, where are we going to have the class? In Buddha Hall or the Guru Rinpoche's Hall? Then he would say, okay, it's up to you. And then I have no clue. What is Guru Rinpoche's Hall? What is Buddha Hall? I have no clue, right? Then I have to ask, which one? The first floor or the what do you call it? Ground floor or the first floor? Which one is the Buddha Hall? Then Vigraj would say that the ground floor is the Buddha Hall. You getting it? So, okay, Vigraj, tell me, what is the unique thing about the Buddha Hall? How do you know that this is Buddha Hall? Buddha statue, right? Okay, in the Guru Rinpoche Hall also there's a Buddha statue, I remember that. Yes, there's a Buddha statue there. So simply because having a Buddha statue doesn't make the hall a Buddha hall. Even my room also is a Buddha statue, it's not a Buddha hall. You know, my suitcase also has a Buddha statue. That suitcase is not a Buddha hall. What makes this a Buddha hall? Anyone? Hey.
Regular prayer.
Okay, regular prayers. Okay, regular prayers. Okay, I do regular prayers in my room. My room is not a Buddha hall.
We gave this a name. We gave this hall a name.
Somebody labeled this. You're getting it? Subjectively labeled this as the Buddha hall. So, dependent origination of dependence on mental labeling, mental designation, mental imputation, mental designation, they all mean the same. So, say this flower, it becomes a flower by mental naming, mental labeling. You getting it? Without mental labeling it, it's not a flower. It's not a flower. That we are human beings is because of the labeling. Without the labeling, we are not human beings. And so therefore, the first time the Nizam Rinpoche, he built this, and then 2 stories, 3 stories, 3 stories, including the basement, the ground floor. Ground floor, first floor, second floor is there. There's second floor also. Good. So there are 3 floors. Now, what do we call? Then perhaps Nizam Rinpoche and Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche must have discussed. Okay, the ground floor, let's call it Neha, right? Your name? Vinay. Okay, so as Vinay said, 2 of them decided, let's call it Buddha Hall, which means that is labeled. So this became a Buddha Hall. From next time, say the Vigrah said, okay, go to get the table from the Buddha Hall. The person should not go up, should go down. Okay, so this became the Buddha Hall simply by labeling. You getting it? Labeling. This is known as mental designation. Of the 3 levels of dependent origination, the third one is the subtlest. So the fact that dependent origination, when you study things at dependent origination, it means it exists. If it is non-existent, it cannot be dependent. It exists. And it exists not independently, it exists by dependence, which means empty of independent existence. This is emptiness. So emptiness and dependent origination, these 2 are the 2 sides of the same coin. So one side is dependent origination, other side it is emptiness. You getting it? So by understanding dependent origination, that allows us to understand dependent emptiness well. Very good. The next question. Okay, over there. Soham?
Vishla, can you briefly explain the emptiness of consciousness itself?
Okay. In the first place, consciousness is an English word. It's an English word. And the Asian philosophers, thinkers, psychologists, they borrow the English word to convey the meanings that they have, they want to share with other people. In the Buddhist context, they borrow the word consciousness to understand the mind. Mind is consciousness. So how can we understand the emptiness of the mind? Okay, to make it very clear, I don't want to go into too much into detail. This can confuse many of the beginners. Okay, so even the consciousness, for example, let's say this flower. I ask the question, what is this? The flower. Now, my question to you is this flower, if you look at it more closely, you end up seeing the atoms. This we did yesterday. We end up seeing these atoms. And on the atomic level, you go too close to the atomic level and you say the flower disappears. My question to you is, where is that flower which you saw earlier? Where's the flower? And I think Priyanka was there yesterday. What she said was that, is it Priyanka or is GP? What's your name? Jabin or Priyanka? Who said it? Is it Priyanka, you said it? That the flower is somewhere in the mind. You said it? On the atomic level, it's not there, But what earlier saw was just some way in the mind. Okay. So from this we see that the flower is nothing but made of small parts which are not the flower. You agree? Flower is made of the parts, atoms which are not the flower. But could put together and we see as a flower. Likewise, our mind, consciousness. Our mind this is also like illusion. Illusion means something which appears, which is not really there on the object. Objectively, it's empty, but it does appear. That is illusion. This is the meaning of the illusion, dream. So the flower is also like a dream because, see, subjectively it appears. When you go towards the object, it's empty. It disappears. So it's like a dream. Likewise, your consciousness. And you feel, I'm sad today. I'm little, my mind is a little foggy today. So it's about your consciousness, your mind. So this consciousness, it also is made of parts. Just as a flower is made of parts, even this consciousness, which is intangible phenomena, intangible meaning which cannot be seen, which cannot be held, even that is made of parts. So just as this flower is made of parts, and amongst the parts you see that the flower is empty, nowhere. Likewise, even this consciousness, the mind that you have, is also made of parts. And with the individual parts, the original consciousness that you are seeking is again empty. So this is how we understand the emptiness of the consciousness. And your question, I know, is how can we say the consciousness or the mind has parts? What parts do they have? This is a question. Okay, how many of you, they say to you, this question comes to you, Resents? How can you speak of parts to the consciousness? Resents? Or you 1, 2, 3, 4, good, 5. Good. Okay, let's say when you speak about the parts, don't always think of parts as material parts. The parts can be of two kinds. One is known as material parts and the other one is temporal parts. Material parts and temporal parts. Temporal parts meaning parts in time. Parts in time. For example, let's say 2025. 2025 is time or is a physical object? 2025 is a time or is a physical object? It's a time. So 2025 is made of parts. It's made of 12 months. First month, second month, third month, and so forth. And the first month of 2025 is also made of parts. It has 30 days or 31 days? 31 days. Okay, 31 days. And the first day also is made of parts, temporal parts. It's made of 24 hours. So this is how we see that even time is made of parts. Likewise, our mind. Okay, I'm happy today. When you say I'm happy today, your mind, 24 hours mind is happy. 24 hours. First hour mind, second hour mind, third hour mind. These are the temporal parts. So physical matters, like your body, the table and so forth, they have material parts as well as temporal parts. Whereas the mind has only temporal parts, it does not have material parts. You getting it? Good. Any more questions? Yes.
We speak about non-dual what is non-dual in Buddhism?
Non-dual, okay. Okay, let's put it like this. What is this, Dorji? Flower. How do you know this is a flower? How do you know there's a flower in my hand? How do you know? I can see that. So your subject sees the object. So subject is one, object is another. There are two things, duality. You getting it? Now what happens is that when you go closer to the object, you see the atoms. Where's the flower? Where's the flower? Flower disappears. You getting it? It doesn't mean the flower is non-existent. It simply means the flower doesn't exist objectively. So the concept of flower dissolves. Of the two, the flower and your eyes seeing the flower, two, duality. When you see that the flower is objectively empty, on the atomic level, the flower dissolves, which means objective flower is empty, flower exists subjectively, but you are seeing whether the flower is objective, it dissolves. Now what is left? Only one is left. Duality is gone. Now, this is Vedanta, particularly the Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta, they talk about the non-duality. This is, so they have this sense, they say the Atman is left and everything dissolves. Everything is Maya. Everything dissolves. Only one thing is left. This is the duality dissolves. Now in the Buddhist philosophy, even this dissolves. Even this I consciousness as a consciousness, you speak of the emptiness of consciousness dissolves. Then what is left? Earlier two dissolves completely. With the Vedanta, one is left. It's not complete non-duality. It's partial non-duality. But in Buddhism, it's a complete non-duality. You getting it? Okay. This will take a little time to grab at it. It doesn't matter. Okay, any more questions? Okay, no question. Okay, yes. So,
Is there a blueprint? Is there a blueprint which governs how the non-dualism manifests in this world?
okay, so for this, I would say that first we have to study these very thoroughly. Study dependent origination, emptiness, soul, very thoroughly. Then we can talk, these will make sense. Otherwise, if you don't study Newtonian physics and studying quantum physics directly will make no sense to us. You getting it? There is a way. There's a way, but the way is through Newtonian physics. Likewise, we have to study these concepts very thoroughly, built up systematically. Correct information? Hey, Sonam. Correct information? Look, even these are missing. How can you talk about this duality manifesting into this and so forth? Even these three things are missing. Hey, Sonam. Correct information, complete information, systematic information. You're getting it? Only then you can talk about the higher levels. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of your time. Without studying Newtonian physics, you jump to quantum mechanics, it's just a waste of your time. Okay, any more questions? Yes.
One question. So the mind is not a physical matter, right? So
What is physical matter?
no, it is not. Like,
It is not.
It is not physical, and that is what I'm saying. So, like, since you explained that like, time has also its own temporal part, so the mind is also constituted
All temporal parts. Yes. Temporal part of the mind. Yes.
That is something I wanted to know because.
Yes, it is. So what else should I give you? Mind is made of temporal parts of the mind.
Yes, what are temporal parts of the mind? Like, can you explain something?
Okay, first, say, okay, when did you first taste chocolate?
Around 5 or 6 years old, I like.
Okay, when did you first have cheesecake?
12.
Let's say 12. Okay, say till 12, if somebody tells you the parts which made the cheesecake, it's just a guesswork, because you don't know what is cheesecake. You're getting it? To know what is cheesecake is made of, what parts, you have to know what is cheesecake first. You have to eat it. You have to see it, touch it. Once you know what a cheesecake is, then you can ask, what is it made of? What are the ingredients? You're getting it? Likewise, first we have to know what is mind. Only when you know what mind is, then what is the ingredient of the mind? What is this mind made of? What are the paths which make this mind? You getting it? So for this you have to understand what the mind is first. For this you have to study Buddhist psychology. You getting it? So this evening we may not touch that part. I'm not too sure. We can touch that part. We may not touch this. We're not sure. But tomorrow for sure it will touch the psychology. What is this mind? So we're done for this today, and this evening at 6 o'clock we have another introductory course, which is going to just complete the last part of the Four Noble Truths, and then we'll move to the Buddhist psychology. Okay, those of you who are interested, feel free to join us. Otherwise, you can rest. What you got? Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvas Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvas Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvas. And let us turn to page 52, the end declaration prayer. Page 52. As the great Tibetan masters say, the two activities, one at the beginning and one at the end. At the beginning, setting proper motivation. At the end, dedicating the merits properly. So this is the part on dedicated merits. Let's read these three verses together. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization that deeds in the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight, may in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, everywhere in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes blind of ignorance. Okay, 3 processions together.